We'll bring the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen meeting to order. All three selectmen are here, town administrator, police chief, and Leo Martell is recording, for the general public, and Linda Nickerson will upload those to YouTube and the Dunbarton homepage. I have some previous old business meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of October 3rd, 2024 as amended.
I'll second those.
Motion made, seconded, any discussion?
Amendments were minimal.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2024.
Non-sealed,
I don't think there's anything in there to seal.
right?
Motion's been made,
I'll second.
seconded by Mike, all in favor?
Aye. Jennifer continues to do a great job in these minutes.
Yeah, I thought they were very good this week. Okay. We bring it for public comment, it looks like, everybody's on the agenda. Leo, you good?
No, yeah.
Being our only public member, I'll ask you specifically. Alright, we'll close public comment for now, going into town business. We need to sign the town clerk warrant notice for polling place for November 5th, 2024, the election. I did this week when I was in. Mike, you wanna sign that?
Sure.
There is 3 copies, we need to sign them all.
So if we don't do it, we can cancel the election.
Well, that would be too nice, wouldn't it? Okay. Next thing on the review here is gonna be the, review the 2025 budget for healthcare rates. We have packets. We're gonna look into the COLA and budget strategy for, and staffing additions for 2025. These are the exhibits Lean's given us, starting out with health trust. We've got increase there. And it looks like it's on the lower rate level went up the most.
Yep. So the higher plan, the lower deductibles went up 9.9%.
Yeah.
And then the lower plan, which was, always a fairly good price for the town, went up 17.5%, so the overall change combined is 13.9%. I did do a worksheet, spreadsheet, in case the board needed to look at it. The increases range from $96 up to $260, and then on the lower plan, it increased $123 up to $333 for a family plan.
Is that monthly, Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've shopped these rates around in the past.
It's been a few years now, at some point, we probably should look around, but there aren't many providers that offer this type of,
And they have given us decent service.
yeah.
And they also give rebates if it's a good year for them as far as claims, they always rebate it back to us too.
Yeah, there will not be any, holiday credits this year.
Okay. Lee, do we need to make any approval on that healthcare package, or is that just a,
No, you have
Notice
to,
coming to us.
accept it, make motion, and then sign the packet.
you didn't give me the signature page, or did you?
It's in the mailbox
Oh.
packet, that's it, colored one right there?
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the changes from Health Trust, for 2025.
Second that.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
that being said, for the next meeting, I hope to have a personnel policy, review, so that the board can look at, some recommended changes or possible changes, and one of them would be stipend in lieu of health. That, with the increases that you see here, an adjustment on that, stipend might be cost savings to the town
In other
and
words, we raise that appropriately, someone might jump on that and save the thousands of dollars.
correct, and on this worksheet, there is a breakout of that.
Of how many we have
On
enrolled
the-
with the,
yep,
with
on the back.
stipends.
Of course, the information that we're looking at on that worksheet gives the current enrolled, staff,
I
but
don't think
if,
you guys could assign it other than that.
when we add, the highway work on there, there'll be additional costs along with, whatever is proposed from the police department for additional staff, so we could be looking at 2 more full-time employees under the medical plan.
Right,
May I just say something real quick?
yep,
I have 2 officers ready to come off of the town's plan if the
Oh.
stipend is right.
Yeah,
So it would essentially be a wash, the town would save money on top of that.
and that's with the rates we had discussed previously in the year.
No,
no, that's why I would like to go through the personnel policy and then look at the recommended changes.
I think we
and
did
what-
change it last year, but I think that needs, I think as prices go up, that needs an annual review too.
So you changed it in April of 2024, effective 60% of the lower plan single, which basically increased that stipend by about $100 a month.
Right, I remember I was discussing with the police chief, I misspoke, I was telling him all sorts of good things, like candy canes and all the sweet stuff was gonna be good. I made a big mistake in the amount I told him it was gonna save.
I
Yeah, I
have,
think we were talking a few $100s at the time, right?
yeah, it's not a big increase, on the single plan, it's around $8,000, the stipend at the 60% is just about $5,600 a year. And if that is increased to be a flat rate and people come off the family plan and the 2-person plan, that's where you're gonna see the big savings.
Gotcha.
And I will have a spreadsheet that
Okay,
covers all that and.
we'll take a look at it. Thank you, Chris.
you're welcome.
Okay, COLA for 2025.
I was doing a little research here,
Yeah,
and a couple numbers came up. Across the federal government, the COLA for social security was 2.5%. However, when you break it down by region, which is the second portion, you have a small document like this, very fine print. This is broken down by region, and if you look at the northeast, we're sucking wind when it comes to, inflation. We're at about a 3.4%. And it's hovering high. So the thing is, we may say 2.5%, but remember, the social security done by the federal government kinda excludes a lot of the key categories. And they pick and choose what they wanna put in there to keep rates low. I think this document is a little bit better, so I see a range from a low of 2% to a high, this is what I'm proposing. I'm proposing low of 2% to a high of 3% or 3.5%. So in that, somewhere in there, we gotta come to some sort of agreement, to help our employees keep up with just paychecks, cost of living. But I don't think we have to go, I don't think we should undercut them, but I don't think we should overpay them either. In the past, we have avoided the percentages, like 2.45 or 2.56. If we're gonna do it, I'd say make it 3%, 2%, or 4%, something in that range group. And so I'm shooting for my proposal, 3%, and leave it right there.
My thought is, we've been talking, about trying to keep this more standardized, and, I'd like to try and keep it at the 3% if we can. It looks like, you know, like Mike is saying, 2.5 to 3.5 is somewhere where it is, and I think the 3% rate would give them a decent jump, as well as, not affecting their tax rate too overly burdensome too.
I agree with 3%.
Anybody else for comment on that?
The only feedback I got last last year from our guys was, and I know that healthcare, there's not much we can do, but the 3% was essentially a wash with the increase in the healthcare, almost, I had to break out my calculator and show the guys, you still are making more money.
Yeah, it's a 1%, it averaged out, I believe, for those that had an increase. But I will be getting my memo out
Yeah, it is,
immediately.
it is hard to keep that health,
Yeah.
care, all
It's like
companies are
everywhere,
feeling it
yeah.
everywhere.
Yep. I think 3% is very fair, I appreciate the board's consideration.
I think 2% is too low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to set the rate at 3% for the COLA for 2025
I'll
for our
second,
town budget.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Alright,
Okay. Lean, you wanted to discuss budget strategy, and also it looks like our calendar's here.
Correct,
It's a 2024 calendar though.
right, this is just strictly for the holidays coming up
Oh,
in
okay.
November, December, so I needed more information from the board before I can just, and then look at the deadline dates, and then present, a calendar for
On
the
Halloween, are
2025.
we gonna look at, having stuff on the agenda then, or if there's nothing, are we gonna skip the Halloween meeting?
I would personally like to meet, if we can get that, personnel
You
policy
don't have any
review.
grandkids to take Halloween?
My daughter's taking that, so.
I'll be here anyways, right in the center, so I
Okay.
can
It's,
slide.
it's gonna be quite a
Um,
mess.
do you wanna, we wanna make it earlier in the day?
Because I know that
No, 'cause
the
earlier
town
in the
clerk,
day, it has to be during the day.
Yeah.
the town clerk does wanna meet with the board to discuss the election, which is the following Tuesday.
Either that or move it to,
When's
Next week.
Halloween get over in town?
It's
Yeah.
from 5 to 7.
5 to
You wanna do it at 7:30, give it a delay?
It dips off pretty quick
It
once
does,
7
once it
hits.
gets dark like this, like it's, it'll,
I think we'll just leave it at 7, and
7, yeah,
if the agenda
Yep.
is somewhat light.
Are you bringing treats for everyone, Dave?
I can, I will bring treats.
Yeah.
Exploding
For
treat
him.
for you. Budget strategy, I know we're gonna talk about some of this stuff later in the year, we do have several departments, looking for staffing and shortages. Jeff has his, he has applications right now for his driver,
He has applications coming.
he
Yeah.
did have one at
he had
least.
one,
Well, he had two, but one was kind of an,
Fire department has received one for the chief already, and, we have to, that's the first start. When we get a mass of them, we're gonna go interviewing processes, but, we're just beginning now. Lean worked diligently with John, I gave a little bit of input, not much, but thing is, they put the ads out there, and, we just gotta wait, it's a wait out game now.
so I
did we
think
get any input on the salary? Didn't see anything on,
we tried not to do it, we're gonna negotiate it after the fact, they are collecting some salary information.
right,
We kinda wanna see if somebody comes in with 30 years' experience versus somebody with 2 years.
yeah, I didn't see any
Chief's
sort of
experience.
range in any of the emails
But,
we had sent out.
Look, as
To
John
just
said,
verify what other towns are paying.
Yeah, I
Right,
did see
that's
some
what-
like,
that's what we're working on, John and I.
Oh, okay.
I did see some stuff come across and that was like $20 or $25 an hour even. I don't know if it was Allenstown or what, but.
and the thing is, from what we're paying now, we're doubling the number of hours that John gets for the part-timer. And the thing is, we got a critical mass, they gotta be under the full-time, semi-retired person, it's gotta be under the full-time where they can collect their retirement, which is 36?
26.
26,
For them, it's 26, yeah,
Yeah.
for that,
and so, but
Firefighters.
John only works
Hours
around,
were 20 to 25 hours, I think,
yeah,
yeah.
and John only works around
That's
12
what
right
I
now, so
didn't
it's
see.
doubling of John's, hours.
And again, they can have more and cut their next week back and all this, but they'll have to juggle it with all their meetings, of course.
Right, and calls.
So, you know, as we've always done, I think we're looking for somewhat level services, although there have to be some adjustments made as we go in this budget. So there'll be a lot of juggling to make sure the departments are all.
And the other
staffed
thing,
properly.
we're gonna ask, we need to ask John to include in his budget their per diem, ambulance attendant.
Yeah.
That's gotta be part of the, and, that could be a huge, a significant addition to the budget on the fire department.
between the two positions, yeah, the chief and the EMS per diem, yep.
And then we're gonna hear from, the police department's here tonight too, there might be a little bump there, I don't think it'll be terribly great for next year.
Yeah, and I think even the transfer station, we've staffed it a little bit more than previous years this summer, cause you had the additional help, and I think it's running a little bit smoother, and there's people there that, when you're on vacation or whatnot, there's still enough coverage to make sure it's all done right.
And just for the record, I stopped by, I chatted with Woody, he was giving me just a rundown of some of the issues that he had with the truck brakes, for example, going bad. But the thing is, you notice when he goes on, and when he left before, and things go to, he was relatively pleased with the way the shop ran while he was gone. So it's, give kudos where they deserve, so if that's his perspective, and he can be very critical, from a constructive criticism, but he said basically things look pretty good for him down there, so kudos to the people who stood up for him, stood during the vacation time. Dave, if you pass it on to him, I'd be grateful.
I will, yep. Okay, next thing on the agenda, we've got the police chief, Chris Remillard here. To request a 6th full-time officer for 2025, and he did give us each a packet to read, which I'm appreciative of. So Chris, come on up and we'll start on yours.
I don't have it in my packet, so do you need to see the full packet?
I know mine, cause I read it thoroughly enough, I'm not,
I've got a couple of.
right here. I have one, Lane.
Do you need one?
No, I don't need one.
I was asking Mike.
I'll take one, but I read it, I've been, I
I have an extra one.
I take it, I'll
Okay.
take it.
All the other stuff, so. Thanks for laying that out in advance, Chris. That
Oh, of
was,
course.
It was good reading and gave us some good insight on what you're looking to do, and I think that it was well worthwhile, give us all time to, go through it and look at it and try and understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
Before he begins, I just like to, for the record, I could just point out that last year he came in with a request to staff up, and respectfully, we told him not to, there wasn't time for it, and so he delayed a year, and so this is, almost going back, it's the second year he's asking. And out of courtesy, he basically withdrew, any type of, action requesting another full-time officer last year. And so, I think we have to give some due diligence here as he presents, and we should, take it into serious consideration, because he did delay a whole year. At our request.
Yep.
Thank you, Lynn.
This is just a page of the demographics of this.
Okay, Chris, why don't you state your case and then we'll talk about where we're at with it, and then we'll kind of, and I appreciate you being proactive, coming in early, at least we can get these discussions
Sure.
rolling.
So yeah, as Selectman Kaminsky said, I wanted to do this last year. I was amenable to waiting, cause I understand, highway had needs as well. But we're kind of at an impasse at the police department, with Officer Gorman retiring and Officer Miliotto no longer wanting to work, patrol shifts. We've lost a lot of, patrol hours that we were staffing before. We're shuffling things around as best we can, but, that was kind of the writing on the wall, and I know we've talked for years now that eventually the day was gonna come where all of our part-timers just about were gonna be pulling the plug. I am trying to do this as cost-effective as possible. 2014, 2018 are the last two times we've added a full-time position. And both times, we did a phase-in the first year, so we're not coming right out of the gate after town meeting and hiring somebody. With an August 1 start date, it's approximately 5 months of 2025, and what that allows us to do is post the position, run someone through a process, hopefully hire someone, and this is all contingent upon even finding somebody that's gonna be a good fit for our town. Send them to the academy in September, they would graduate in December, and then they would have a 3 or 4 month field training period, so they wouldn't even be on the road until the spring of 2026. And that's why I would be remiss if I didn't explain the proactivity here and how, it's really a year. I know we've talked about that before. So, where we are at with part-timers, as far as the wages go for the 5 months, it's essentially a wash. I'm proposing to cut our part-time budget by $22,300 approximately. And again, between the August 1 start date, I'm also looking at a cost savings of trying to hire someone at the trainee rate, which is a non-certified officer. Instead of bringing someone in, you know, with 10, 12, 15 years experience. If we find a unicorn of a certified officer that we wanna hire, what we would do is just start them later in the year to compensate for the higher hourly rate. But between, you know, the phase-in, the trainee rate, and then reducing the part-time budget, I thought those were reasonable concessions to at least hopefully get this before the voters.
So Chris, what's your budget gonna look like on your full year after you've done this part-time? Cause next year your budget will be fairly flat per se.
Relative.
I know there
Yep.
will be charges on liens end, cause we got $17,000 or $18,000 worth of, depending on which insurance they find
Right,
or whatever else to
right.
add to it. So it's only about a $40,000 overall
Mhm.
this year, which
Right.
doesn't sound bad. On the next full year.
Yep.
What's your budget now, what will it be? It'll be about $100,000 at least?
Up to 100,000, and that's, and I understand the methodology, what lean has to do with budgeting for the highest family plan the town has.
Yeah, yep.
Best case scenario, the person takes a stipend, or they are on their spouse's insurance, and
So
we
it's
don't
like
even-
95 to 105,000 depending on.
in that ballpark, yeah. But I'm trying, at least for 2025, my overall budget increase because of the part-time reduction is gonna be pretty minimal. I mean, I'll have the COLAs, obviously, for our positions, a couple contractual increases, but I'm talking like, I think prosecution went up like $200, like,
Yeah.
very minor increases, like I've always tried to do with the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of shuffle things around and make sure that I'm not coming in with a huge jump, but the climate of law enforcement, and I started as a part-time officer, and I hope this doesn't come off that I'm speaking ill of part-time, but part-time is out the window. It's completely irresponsible to put someone on the road one time a month and expect them to succeed. The job has become way too complex, it's way too much liability for the town, and, you know, looking at, you know, if we tried to hire someone part-time that has no experience, there's not even a part-time academy being offered.
Yeah, and reading your program, I understood that into it real well. The part I don't understand, and I wanna have you help me walk me through this. We got Officer Gorman, obviously, who was great, trained, part-time, came from a different department, semi-retired, but came here. Are there anybody in our local towns around us retiring that would like to work in a town with maybe less activity, but do it at a part-time rate?
I mean, I don't know. The problem with that, as we touched on earlier, is that if someone retires, they're capped at 26 hours a week. That, it doesn't help us in the long term. As far as what we're looking at for scheduling, trying to expand our patrol hours, etc. A lot of, I'll be quite frank, when someone is retiring from police work and looking to get on part-time somewhere, it's for details.
Yeah.
Mike Gorman was a unicorn because he was part-time his entire career because he worked full-time at Auto City, and they don't make guys like that anymore. You know, I think that the town has changed significantly, at least in the time that I've been here, with regards to activity and expectations of the agency, and I think that we're kind of at that crossroads now where our part-timers are either retiring or saying, hey, I don't wanna work patrol anymore, and we need to pivot to more of a full-time agency. And that was always coming, and now we're here.
Yeah, and I did see, you know, our replacement officers been between 4 and 7 years. The 4-year ones are replacing officers that were basically moving up within our department, and we're getting a new officer in. The 7-year ones are like every 7 years we've provided a new officer, it looks like.
Yeah, cause
And we're at that 7th year by
we
2020.
are, and that's the thing, is the lead time, right? You know, the year, and that's what kills us. But I will never sacrifice the continuity of the agency or the expectations of the town just to get a body in there. you know, that's why it takes so long. And ideally, I'd like to find someone that we can bring in and train to our standard and train them the way we do things. Not that full-time certified guys, there's nothing wrong with that, but they bring a perspective from another agency they've been at for 10, 15 years. And on top of that, there's cost savings, because you're bringing someone in at a lower rate, so.
And myself, looking through your whole proposal and everything else, I even mentioned it to Lean, I think today or yesterday, I would rather bring somebody and have you train them to how our department runs and not have that attitude brought in from a different department. And not just that, have that step increase actually work that we put in place.
Yes,
Instead of hiring, all your guys are up at the top step,
right,
and none of you guys have any room to go any further, cause we put the additional steps in there, we don't use them, cause
that's right.
we've got all heavily trained people, you know?
That's right, and I think, you know, to credit to Lean and to the board, the step implementation was huge.
Yeah.
Because Officer Tompkins and Officer Philbrook, we certified them, they had no previous law enforcement experience, and they very much appreciate the ability, of upward progression with their wages.
Right, they get the COLA and their steps,
That's
so
right.
it gives them something to look forward to
It does.
every couple of years.
And we've been, I don't wanna jinx ourselves, but we've been very fortunate with retention. You know, between the step increases, some of the retention things we do, the quality of life that we offer. So, you know, we would really try to find someone that is specifically looking to work in a town like Dunbarton. Someone that we would have longevity with and get that return on investment. You know, we're paying to train you and equip you, now we'd like to keep you for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and that's what we're looking for. We can tell pretty easily, cause when we did rounds of interviews these last couple times, we can tell if someone's just coming in and looking to use us as a stepping stone. It's pretty evident to us, and we can kinda see through the smoke and mirrors, and make sure that we're really finding someone we're gonna have longevity with, and that's what we need to look at this as, is it's an investment in the long-term stability of the police department.
I've reviewed everything, and, I think that, you know, the program, especially being in 2026, is something that I can live with. I would like to check around other, you know, abutting towns, not, you know, I don't wanna bring somebody from 2 departments away, you know, but abutting towns, if you could look into, see if there's any retirement guys to maybe, you know, add a part-timer to your force that you can use and fill in some of your hours. Because I think that having those part-timers might be beneficial to you for smaller, duties that you guys have.
Are you referring to in addition to what I'm looking for?
I would say in addition to what you're looking for, and also, because you came to us so early, we have time to reach out, see if there's any, you might come to us next month, say, I've checked every town around, there's not really any availability to that, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I can speak to, you know, cause we work pretty closely with all the agencies around us. You know, I can only think of one agency where they have a couple guys on the way out the door, but they already have things lined up private sector.
Yeah.
I mean, there is still a value to part-time officers without a doubt. Officer Miliota was still bringing in a significant amount of revenue for the town, working details. Officer Skloot, albeit his availability is extremely limited, he was available to help out with the dedication ceremony on Saturday, which was huge for us, instead of having to bring someone in on overtime or on their day off.
Any of the days like we had with the voting.
Yep, voting as well, that's huge. So I did leave approximately 3,000 in my budget to cover, some training hours, but also, you know, voting, and then, you know, like coffee with a cop, bike rodeo, kind of low-hanging fruit as far as community events, but there's no patrol hours in there.
See, my concern is, when does it become cost ineffective to maintain a part-time officer, maintain the standards, and he's only working maybe less than 25 hours a quarter? Is it really worth it?
Uniforms, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, there's an overhead charge where it's gotta be a break-even point where if they don't do a minimum, like this, you talk to an officer who basically works in Hillsborough County. When was the last time you saw him on any?
Right, and we're gonna be having a discussion here shortly.
Yeah, but that would be an example of, I agree, there's gotta be a break-even point, if you're not meeting the break-even point, it's time to say adios.
And the other thing that we're in a really convenient position is I have pretty much all of the equipment. that I would need to outfit someone. Because when Officer Gorman retired, that's a radio, we're buying a firearm this year to have a spare on hand, but a lot of the duty gear, a lot of the stuff that we would need, we already have, so it's kind of it's a very opportune moment, between reducing the part-time budget, doing a part-year phase-in, having a lot of the equipment. I would say approximately $4,000 to $5,000 worth of equipment we would normally have to buy, we already have. Because we have it now to outfit another officer, and we've never been in that position before, so it's kinda like the stars are finally aligning. And that startup time is what's really significant. I know the board understands that, and I know I keep harping on it, but we're talking 2026 by the time I can put someone in a cruiser.
If you can find something.
If I can find somebody.
Because the thing is, I understand the state police are below where the threshold where they need to be.
Approximately 70 troopers down.
And surrounding communities are in the same boat as we are.
Yeah, we've got the best town to work in.
Well, that's the only advantage.
We do have a good town. The PD, I'm biased. The PD has a good reputation outside of Dunbarton with other law enforcement agencies, and I think that again the quality of life that we can offer as a town and as a PD is a huge selling point.
So the thing we've got to try and balance, Chris, is this year, an average house went up, even as level as we're keeping this. But, cause you gotta combine the school and everything, it's all still one budget.
Yep.
And, the average house is gonna go up somewhere between $300 and $500 this year, keeping things as level as we did. Last year, they were up $1,000, the year before that, they were up around $1,200.
Right.
Those are huge increases for people that have fixed incomes. And at some point, we're gonna push the elderly out of the town that, are trying to live off retirement income, and they just can't do it anymore because the stuff's going up, and
But Dave, I'd like to challenge you there.
we always have to balance
For
that.
the last 10 years, I've been on this board almost 10 years with you, this time. And you would agree, and Justin has seen us now, we have been pinching pennies, tightening our budget, we level funding, level services, we do the best to not deny hiring, and we have our counterparts at the school who have, I don't think they can fathom the cost savings that we're putting ourselves under when cost restrictions versus the other side. At this point in time, we need some staffing changes in this town. Police department, fire department, highway garage, this office is gonna need to expand a full-time person soon enough. It's time, times of tightening our budget is over. I think we have to, with the expansion of this town, we have to embrace it, and I'm sorry, the school's gonna have to embrace it with us. We can't do it alone.
You need to bring your argument to the school meeting, not to me.
Oh, I know, but the thing is, we can't beat ourselves up in this room here, because for 10
We're
years.
not beating ourselves
No,
up,
but
I'm
we
just
gotta be
trying to
careful.
explain to Chris,
Yeah,
where we're the people who balance that out,
Of course.
between the needs of the town and then the constituents out there, the voters.
Of course. And
And we're trying to do a job that they've asked us to do, and part of that is balancing this stuff all out, and as you know, we did the cars every other year, and those ended up being every year, but we now have that straightened out, so a lot of these things have taken time to balance out,
wait a
but,
minute, as long as he doesn't blow up any engines.
this is, I read through your package very well, and it was explained out, and we are in our 7th year now, and so, like you said, things are lining up more that way. I just wanna make sure we do our due diligence and check those other departments that abut to us, have a conversation with them and come back to us and just let us know what your findings are, you might say, hey, I did check with everybody, and everybody that is retiring that I know of, currently is gonna be doing an outside function or going to work in a hospital and doing,
yeah,
activities there.
I can certainly, that kind of puts me, quite frankly, in an awkward position, because I'm essentially calling chiefs of other agencies saying, hey, do you have anyone retiring soon, where they wanna come work for me? And again, there's one agency nearby I can think of that has guys that are close to retiring, and they want nothing to do with PD anymore. They're going to private sector because.
You don't know when you're out, you're out.
Exactly, yeah, and what I've seen with full-time certified guys or gals that retire, that go part-time to a small agency like us, it's just for the details.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would give us the return on investment or the longevity that we're looking for, is a 25-hour-a-week retiree. there may be a time down the road, you know, where that's something that we can do, but right now, that's something that I just don't think is feasible, given the circumstance. I'm happy to kind of check around, but again, it kind of puts me in a strange position with our mutual aid partners.
Does adding this person, is that planning to expand any type of patrol hours, like into the, you know, in the morning or at night,
Yes.
or?
Yep, so right now Sergeant Tyler and I think I put it in there, we cover the hours where we have no Dunbarton officer on duty for major incidents, and we are burnt out. So this would allow us to expand our hours of actual patrol coverage. And that's the other thing is, you know, right now I have 2 officers that are sick, out. So we're juggling that. We had an officer get injured earlier this year, that was out. When we go from 5 to 4 or 4 to 3, we're screwed. Absolutely screwed. 6 to 5 is a lot more palatable. We can maintain what we have right now, but when we lost Ralph and then Jason, granted, quick succession, hopefully that won't happen again, we were hurting, big time. The burnout was unfathomable. The overtime was out of control. Guys were questioning, is this even worth it anymore? And I have to look out for my staff as well. And 6 is kind of like, that's the golden number.
Yep.
And again, I think the stars have aligned. I've tried to be economically reasonable with my request, because I do, I feel for the taxpayer. I know I don't live in this community,
The
but
true challenge will come in 2026 when we have that officer for a full 12 months.
Well, that's why,
Yeah.
you know, we were looking at another 100,000 in his budget line for
Down
that
the road,
year.
26, yeah. Next year-
Not just him, but between the 2 people needing the fire department,
mhm,
that with the EMS, and the fire chief part-time, that department will be up another 100,000. Jeff's guy is gonna be online for a full year if we hire him this
Right.
year. So all of the departments are going up, and, you know, we shifted you a year away because, you know, we had a new fire truck coming and an ambulance, and
Mhm.
Jeff's guy.
Yep.
So, we've updated a lot of different departments now, and I think that, the fire department is something that has to come along as well. We're in a whole different era than we were
it's
20
different.
years ago.
I don't have to tell you, lived in town your whole life, like this, we're at that impasse where we have to add people. It is what it is.
But
you
we
know.
have to just keep the growth at a rate that everybody can withstand and keep their
Of
homes
course.
as well.
Of course, and I'm very comfortable getting up in front of the taxpayers and explaining our methodology here, because people that were here in 2014 and 2018, this is the same exact thing. We cut the part-time budget, did a part-year phase-in. With any luck, if the stipend is where my 2 guys need it to be, you know, if they come off the town's family plan, you're talking $25,000 in savings right there, just on the benefits side. It's huge, absolutely huge.
And realistically, it's gone well. I know Mike mentioned we put it off last year, but, back here, you remember when they tried to hire Laura for the school,
Yeah, yep. Yep.
liaison?
Yep.
And, so it's been up in the air for quite a while.
It has, and Chief School and I, in 2021, we were gonna ask for a 6th person. And just, it wasn't a good time because we were in the midst of COVID and a lot of financial uncertainty, and, you know, now, you know, everything's kind of aligned where we gotta strike where the iron's hot, cause we won't have this many good things going for us again.
Being a year out, I think, it's something that I can palate and.
I think the biggest challenge would be finding a qualified candidate, and that's gonna be in your plate.
We were looking at the time frame, like mid-March, say, voters give a thumbs up, you're good to go, we start advertising.
I don't think that it has to go to the voters. The only thing is, I think we include it in part of our budget. And the thing is, and you'll be available if the voters have questions regarding that.
And that is what I did, I did put it in my budget request. And I can certainly speak to it if I'm
I
requested.
would be on standby for that, but I don't think it has to go as a vote. I mean,
As a warrant
I think
article.
we're gonna do the budget here and here anyways,
yeah,
so it would be before town voting, it would be here during
No,
budget
but
hearing. and not many
at
people
voting,
show
I
up
think
to
it should be brought up and discussed and given the reason why he's changing his budget, which they always do anyway.
right,
Yeah,
and the thing is, as we go down the
We're gonna
budget,
have to
we just
explain
include it.
fire and all the other budgets that
Exactly.
are doing the same thing, so I think you know, it's not just him singled out, I think we're gonna have support from everyone.
Exactly, I'm agreeing with you.
And I understand what you're saying about the part-time, I feel like this whole world's changed in the hiring industry, nobody wants to work part-time, like,
Right.
even me as a seasonal business, nobody wants to go out and, you know, find a job for 3 months during the winter, they wanna either work full-time for you and that's it, or,
Right.
you know, when I grew up even, 15 years ago, you'd go find something to do during the winter, so
Mhm.
I kinda feel for you in that, no part-time people out there
Yeah.
to really
Maybe
find.
your guys could be police officers.
Yeah. Same thing, we'll buy a uniform for them to work 3
Yeah.
months.
It's, yeah, and the Governor's Leac Commission, all the police reforms in New Hampshire, they recommended getting rid of it altogether.
Yeah.
Part-time law enforcement, it's just,
Well, and I feel like a lot of people that are the ones that I know that retire out of full-time police work are
It's good though.
getting out of it completely
That's
to
right.
Puts us in-
change where their
Yeah.
life is.
that's
you know.
right, and that's the big thing, and I'm sorry to keep blabbering on and on, but when you retire full-time PD, a lot of retired officers are going to the private sector full-time, because New Hampshire retirement used to offer a stipend towards health insurance costs, they don't do that anymore.
Right.
So you walk out the door, unless the town does something, you have no health insurance, so these guys are going back to work full-time.
And
to
they
have
could be
health
security
insurance.
officers
That's
or
right.
whatever else,
That's
so.
right, yep.
Yeah, something
Most of,
safer.
yeah, a lot of them could do hospital security, like St. A's, like if you pick up a security gig at a college, your kids can go there for free or reduced tuition, that's what a lot of guys do. Fraud investigations, insurance investigations, stuff like that, because they need the insurance, understandably.
I thought
Okay.
your chart on municipal comparisons was very good, and a lot of these are rural, and they're already outstaffing us already, because we have the overage.
But they're larger areas typically too.
Yeah, but when we have Concord and Manchester between us, just adjacent to us, it's a challenge.
And I hope the statistics were helpful too, that's obviously just one small snapshot, but we are out straight, we're busy for the size we are.
Made for good reading, let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I thank you for coming in early and working on the budget with us, and I think that it's something that I think we can support as a group.
Thank you, I appreciate the board's
guys see
time and
anything
Yeah, I
support.
support it, I mean, I think it's a nice phased-in plan that, Ken will
You're
take.
supposed to be the toughest.
I think you were. I understand where he's coming from, nobody wants to do part-time anymore. So,
Chris,
I see it now.
can you get someone to fit Gorman's suit?
We don't recycle uniforms anymore, because when I started, I got a shirt that was like 10 times too big.
Joe's the little
Yeah.
guy, you know?
Now,
They just put a
It's
couple
a
more
muscle
plates in it.
there's gotta be an exception to that, because Joe Milliota's been eyeing that leather outfit, the jacket that's
Oh,
been
on
hanging up.
display?
Yes.
You can't reach it, that's why I put it on display. Yeah, that's gonna
Okay.
stay there.
Anything else for us, Chris?
That's it regarding that, I really appreciate the board's time, and certainly if there's any questions that pop up in the interim, I'm all ears.
I would, if Joe Millioto retires, I would at least consider, what Dave said, a part-timer. Just, if we can get someone who can commit for so many hours a week, even if it's detail, because the detail does
I was
bring
gonna
in
say, I
revenue.
think it's just detail,
But it
he
does
didn't
bring
make
in
up all
revenue.
his detail
Yes,
hours.
that's, and, yeah,
He's up there, I always
It
see
does-
him out.
We gotta have one part-timer on detail, as long as he's doing the details, we'll bring in our revenue, and it's a win-win.
But to cut the budget on the part-time to 0, I don't think that'll help you at all.
well,
If you get 3 people that are sick, and you don't have a part-timer that can work a few extra hours,
right.
then that's really shooting yourself or painting yourself in the corner.
Well, the 3,000 I left is for community events and, training, because I currently have no part-timers that wanna work patrol, so when a guy's out sick or whatever, we're resorting to overtime, a full-timer. So having another full-timer will help us plug those holes. And it's contingency-based scheduling too, because there's a lot of times where we're running one officer on a shift, we're trying to cover as many hours as we can with 5 people. Another body would allow us to have more consistent double coverage, so if an officer's out, we still have, in theory, an officer on the road.
Or if you have 2 accidents or whatever.
Exactly, and there's more and more multi-officer responses our guys are going to, especially this year. Some of the calls have just been outrageous.
What was the sergeant gonna say now?
Oh, he's all for it.
No.
He kind of echoed my sentiments about part-time, and he's speaking as a resident and a taxpayer as well. He lives on Northwoods Road. So he and I crafted this, we kicked this around a lot back and forth, making sure that it was palatable.
Cause we can push most of the taxes to his house.
Yeah. He said if the town will pick up his tax bill, he'll eat the overtime. It'll be a wash. In jest, of course, but
Thank you
Alright,
for coming
thanks,
in.
Chris.
thank you for your time.
There's
Thank
an
you.
email in the mailbox after,
Well, you wanna go over that now?
it's up to you, we can go to the holiday thing after.
Was it the holiday thing, Lean, you wanna go through?
Secondary,
It's mailbox items,
Yeah,
and
mailbox
it's
right there.
A.
A,
Flip the
At the top.
page. Right there,
Not
yeah,
sure.
no, right there. You have your glasses on, don't you?
I think so.
I think Clean will have day off.
Oh. You wanna go over that tonight too?
Please. I have to give them an answer.
Oh, yeah, that one, okay.
I did read that quite a while back now.
Yeah, there was a couple.
Why don't you
things.
tell me how you think it's gonna affect you, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So pursuant to my contract, I have to get the board's permission for outside secondary employment. I obtained my master's degree, in 2017 through the town's tuition reimbursement program. I had applied to a lot of adjunct, online positions around that time. Nothing panned out, never got a call back, nothing. I saw that NHGI had an adjunct, which if any of the board members don't know, adjunct is like per diem, like you teach a class here and there as needed. So I put in for it, I didn't hear anything for 2 months, and then I get an email out of the blue asking if I was still interested. So I did an interview, I explained to the gentleman that, you know, I'm very interested, but I have to talk to my board before I can give you an answer. And basically what it would entail, at least starting out, is a hybrid class, so I would have approximately 2 hours in person, once a week, and then 2 hours online that I would obviously just do at home, but, the class that I would be assigned would be Monday mornings from 8 to 9:50. We have another patrolman on at that time, and where I'm salaried, I mean, yesterday I worked like a 14-hour day, today it all comes out in the wash. It won't affect us operationally, and it's a 16-week class. As I get more experience doing this, they would try to transition me to 100% online, but you gotta pay your dues, doing the hybrid, so. The good part for me, career development wise and professionally, it is something I've always been interested in. I'm not looking to leave Dunbarton at all. This is just something that I've been kind of looking to do part-time, gain some experience in teaching, bring in a little bit extra money for the family. But it also, kind of, the timing's nice because it opens up a whole other applicant pool, because their criminal justice program at NHGI is very, very strong. And there's a lot of job fairs and recruiting that goes on at the NHGI campus.
Part-time, guys?
Yeah. So basically that's it in a nutshell. The first class would be in January. It's 16 weeks long. It's criminal law. I would just have that hour and 50-minute weekly commitment in person, and then the rest of it would just be online.
Chris, is this something you will come to us each time you have a teaching opportunity, or are you looking for something that gives you the right to keep repetitively teaching at NHGI?
I would respectfully request the board's permission to continually teach at NHGI, so long as it doesn't substantially interfere with my job here. I wouldn't take a class there that, like, if they said, oh, the only class we have is Wednesday mornings, sorry, I can't, I'm covering the road Wednesdays, I can't do it. If there's something that lines up well and it doesn't affect us operationally, I would pursue that opportunity, but I would never sacrifice anything with the PD to do this.
And what about the hours? Are you looking for us to give you carte blanche to increase the hours from this, 2 to 4 hour coverage? So like,
In other words, he's saying that you have 2 hours online, 4 hours total, 2 and 2. What would be, when would you wanna come back to the board? When he-
when is the,
Threshold.
I don't really have an issue with this. But what I'd like to see, if it doesn't follow this similar program, that if it's more hours requested of you, you at least come to the board.
Of course, and so.
Like if it's a 6 and 6 hour type thing or something.
Yeah, and in my understanding, this is a 4-credit class, which is kind of an anomaly there. Most of the classes are 3 credit, which is less teaching hours, so this would be like the maximum commitment. I wouldn't do more than 1 class at a time.
Right.
So like, we're talking 4 hours max per week,
I have no issue with that.
and 2 hours are online, so.
Yeah, and basically your own time. when you have
Exactly,
time at
do
home.
it at night when the kids are sleeping or whatever,
But realistically, it's only the 2 hours that are technical. I mean,
The only thing he pulls off after duty is he's on call.
yeah.
Any questions from the public or the town administrator?
And I did, just to let the board know, I did, the lead professor is a retired police officer, so he gets it. And I said, you know, there may be times where I'm tied up in something
Can
and I
we
can't.
structure this like detail where the town gets their cut of the money?
Oh, jeez,
Wait a second, he's
The only-
part-time?
what's that?
He's part-time, he could be part of our office.
No, he's full-time.
So I think I heard, what I heard you say is that Wednesday's not a good choice for you because there's not enough coverage. So if this is a Tuesday morning, the 2 hours, you are not
Monday.
going, your department is not gonna be without an officer for
Correct,
those 2 hours.
correct. I would never take a class commitment if it was gonna affect us operationally or incur overtime costs or screw up the schedule. And the, lead professor made it clear, like, hey, listen, like, I get it, I'm like, my position, I might be tied up in something and I can't make it. He's like, that's fine, we can pivot, someone else can cover for you. So it's very, very flexible, and you know what, I might do this and I might not like it, and I might say, you know what, I'm all set. But if I do like it, I'm just looking to do one class at a time.
Well, I like it brings the Dunbarton officer into a different venue, and it's it exposes Dunbarton to a group of potential candidates.
So I'll make a motion that we allow Chris Remillard, the police chief, to, be an adjunct professor at NHTI in Concord. And a 16-week course, a hybrid course, and, allow him to do that. Without affecting his contract with us.
I'll second that.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Alright,
Thank you very much for your support.
go forth and teach. I still like the idea of getting our cut though.
All right, we didn't have a big crowd tonight, you lucked out.
I did, no apples getting thrown,
No.
that's good.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you for your time, I really appreciate it. I'll hang tight for a little
Good
bit.
luck teaching.
Yeah, thank you, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun, I think. Okay, Lean, Thanksgiving hours, Christmas hours, New Year's Eve hours.
Well, I've had, a couple of requests, from the mostly part-time staff. We have one full-time staff that this will affect as well. We have Thanksgiving obviously is a 2-day holiday by our personnel policy. So they're asking if it's possible to close the office for a shorter day on the eve of, before the holiday of Thanksgiving. For the purpose of
You're talking the 27th.
the 27th. Now, that day is already, closed by the town clerk's, department, because she doesn't typically work on Friday, so that's her 2-day holiday.
I think we could do that, but they're gonna have to give their turkey up.
Is that with or without pay?
That's the question,
So they said they gotta we're gonna take the turkey away.
take the turkey away.
The gift, we do the gift card.
Thing is, I have no problem closing, but if they don't get paid for it, it's not paid time.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
unless they
without
have
pay.
personal,
They can take
holiday.
their own time, but without pay.
I wanna make sure it's clear.
Are we in enough coverage that week though, if we close up early?
Well, I'm here covering for one part-timer that's gone for the full week, so I will be here all 3 days.
You will be?
Yeah, for that week of Thanksgiving, I'm
So
writing
what
the
would
checks,
You on the 28th and 29th, you're gonna be here on
No.
holiday?
No, by the 27th,
leading up to that.
noontime, 1 o'clock?
Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm asking. So nobody's here on the 28th and 29th?
No, the offices are closed on that date,
The
those days.
27th they're gonna
It's the
be closed.
27th, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock?
That's only 2 hours early.
Right, well, I think in the past we've done noontime, but we're still scrambling getting, the accounts payable, payroll, all the things ready to disperse to the departments. It's
Now,
not-
wait a second, it affects more than just them, because you got, little guys down the transfer station, they didn't wanna give it up last time we offered it anyway, cause they wanted to work
That's
their
right,
hours.
because they have time and a half on Friday, and where this is a non-paid closure for the town, if they leave early, they're not gonna get paid for it. They're open till 8 o'clock on
on Wednesday, yeah, so they always chose to stay anyway.
Yeah,
So what would be the transfer station policy?
They just work their hours, cause they don't really wanna give up their hours, cause
Yes.
it's part-time.
But the thing is, I think in the past, we would allow them to work Friday, if they don't wanna leave
Well,
early.
we can't leave early on Wednesday night, Mike.
Yeah, no, because the public's expecting
Yeah.
that, that's a service they definitely expect.
So I think, as far as Thanksgiving goes, I think 2 o'clock is good.
okay,
No pay and $25 gift cards, is that what we've been doing
Yes.
for the
Uh,
turkeys?
I gotta get working on that then.
And we bumped it up, it was a lot less than that before us, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
remember we did
Okay.
5150 on the last, cause we missed Thanksgiving last year.
That's
We
fine.
did 50,
Yeah.
yeah. We did 25, then 25 for Christmas.
Yep,
I mean, I work for a lot bigger company, that's all.
No,
we
the
get.
thing is,
Our staff does appreciate those, very, very nice.
I mean, it's nothing, it's
no,
nothing
it
big, it pays.
buys
I
a
mean, we did
15
give them
pound,
nothing.
buys 15
Not a
pound
fresh turkey, but a frozen turkey.
Sure. It's a very nice gesture.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
So we'll do, the 25 for Christmas and the 25 for Thanksgiving.
okay,
Now, move on to the holiday week in December now.
okay, so Christmas Eve, is on the 24th. Christmas Day is, the 25th, so that all departments are closed except for
And the
police.
26th are closed.
26th is just struck out because that's not one of our regular meetings, so we will not be meeting that night. But we
Okay,
will be open the 26th and 27th, so I'm only looking for 2 PM close time on Christmas Eve,
I'm
and then
good
the
with
same
that.
for New Year's Eve.
I'm good with both of those.
And we'll advertise.
Oh, yeah, just
that we're
went,
closing
so public. Gotta go do it in multiple venues, because I don't read the internet, you gotta have it posted on the
How
bulletin
long
board.
is the, town clerk open on Tuesday? That's 2 Tuesdays in a row
2 Tuesdays in a row.
for town clerk, is that's one of her big days or not?
The 31st might be, not the 24th, but I don't know for sure. The 27th in November, she's always closed, again, that's because she doesn't open on Fridays and she's.
Well, it's optional for her if she wants to stay open or not anyway.
Right, right,
She always lists her hours separate,
Yep.
so. I'm good
Oh, we
with
just
both.
share the hours, make sure with the town clerk, so that,
I've already spoken to her
They
briefly, and
compliment.
she said she would like to
Okay.
know what the end result is, so. 2
So
PM.
no pay and take their turkey away.
Now, transfer station on those days, for the 24th and 31st, those are Tuesdays, normally open,
4 o'clock, they're open
4
till.
o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Yeah, and again, they're not gonna wanna lose their hours, so they'll just.
Yeah, usually we leave that up to the discretion of those guys.
Okay,
Yep, so they could take it off, but they'd be losing their hours and none of them wanted to do
well,
it.
as it being full staff, he should be flexible to staff it appropriately.
Yeah,
If there's someone wants to take off early, he should be able to just let them take off and bring someone else in.
yeah, I think they've been doing that pretty regular now.
Good.
A couple of weddings got called in the last, couple of weeks and,
And that was the advantage of having people who could work
Yeah.
part-time and vary at various issues.
okay.
Though we lost one this week, you shared earlier.
yep,
Okay,
okay.
thank
That
you.
being said, our regular agenda is done and we'll go into the mailbox items. What is this stuff here under there? COLA. CPI paid. Oh,
Some of it is redundant, but it's just lines up with, the staffing that we were talking about earlier.
I'm gonna go over this, cause I don't see it in the,
What's that?
mailbox item D. Board of Assessors.
Oh, that is the chart that was given to you separately. It's actually a Board of Assessors report, because they need to budget for their department.
Yep.
So you can see how the increases,
That's where I got the CPU for, I figured it went up a little bit higher
Right.
to northeast rather than.
it's going to affect more than, your employees and your staff. It's-
See you later.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Chris.
Take care, Lean, thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
Oh, I think it's deceiving when they say 2.5%, that's why I went with the higher rate for the region.
Right. Put this over there. Okay,
Do about tax
we
rate.
went through, item number 8.
A, yep,
Chris request.
Yep.
Tax rate setting, we talked about our previous meetings.
no, you actually didn't, you got the
Oh, we
inside
got
scoop
the
before
information.
the public did, it is posted on the website, but it's always good to,
Okay, so it looks like our tax rate setting for 2025 has been set. It's going up 0.81 cents, and the new rate is,
I wanna correct that, it's 2024. Tax rate for 2024 was set on October 8th.
tax rate for 2025 set on October 8th.
2024.
2024.
I'm correcting that
Oh,
right
you're
now.
correcting it, okay.
It is the 2024 tax rate setting, because
Okay.
the July bill is an estimate.
And the tax rate, Elaine, if I see it there, that's, you didn't tally them.
Yep, municipal tax rate for 2023 was $4.42. In 2024, it went up 10 cents to $4.52.
You're saying that overall too?
Yeah, I didn't wanna give them all that, I
The
just wanna
overall, okay, overall increase for 2024 is 81 cents.
give 81 cents, which will make the tax rate 26 point,
It's on that sheet, that, the, it's right there,
okay.
26.
Okay. 2024 tax rate will be 26.38, the 2023 tax rate was 25.57. So it's an 81 cent increase, and the new rate will be 26.38. Thanks, Lean, for putting that together and getting all the correct amounts in there.
And I should point out, Lean deserves some kudos, she was the first one in the gate to get the tax rate set for, across the entire state.
Our portion of the tax rate, just so everybody knows, only went up 10 cents at the town level. Very good job keeping that level services and level rates. Okay, that being said, we have a quote in here. Our regular lawn service thought it'd be better if we priced out the, fertilization, for the town lawns through True Green, which is a company I'm familiar with, they're normally pretty reasonable. They gave us two quotes, one to do the, school, what do you wanna call it, not a playground, but the, field in
Ball
the back,
field.
ball
Yeah.
field,
Yep,
and then they gave us one for the town commons here.
I asked them to do both, only because I've been here over 20 years, and we've never done anything in any type of seeding, fertilizing in the town common, and it's also looking a little bit bare. I didn't know what the outcome would be, but I think it's just something that we should probably consider and look at.
One thing I wanted to look at was, being that that's a playground over there, how they normally handle municipalities. So I'd like to get a direct answer from them, from True Green on that, as far as, do they put them out on weekends, they have time to get into the ground before kids play on them, or anything to that aspect. I reached out to the school board on it.
Yeah.
And it kinda went over their heads, and I reiterated on another email, and they seem to understand a little bit, but my whole concern is that we're not doing something that's gonna affect children playing on the lawn.
Absolutely.
So, if we can, reach out to that and let them know, the town commons I'm not too worried about, because the time people get out on that, they're not laying blankets down or rolling on the lawn like young kids tend to do. But anyway, there were a couple of services here that I thought we should skip. I do at my own residence, they have an aeration and overseeding, which you may do it 1 year and you could skip several years, but that was 1,740 they added in. The lime application, which I think is actually a good idea, was $277. The regular rates at the school, at the town, was $243.79. And they normally do that 6 times a year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 6 times. They have a grub prevention here, which I don't see this lawn all torn up, so I don't think there's a lot of grubs in it, I would skip that as well. So I would do the lime application and then the 5 standard applications, is my recommendation on it. But I think we should wait, we have time now, we'll hear back from them.
Cause they did emphasize that it's too late to do the overseeding this time of the year, but with this, plan, then we have something to.
We
work
could
with.
start up somewhere in the
schedule,
spring
yeah.
with it, so I'm gonna put a line through the grub if you guys are in agreement with that. And a line through the aeration and seeding, and we'll start with fertilization and the lime application to start with. But that plan came out to their subtotal was 33,7881. And that would minus 1740 out of it and 142 for the grub, so it would come down almost in half.
That was like 15.
You know, like 1,500. The other one is a much smaller area. The applications, 5 applications are 185. The fall aeration and overseeding was 1350, which we'll probably skip. And grub prevented on that will skip. And then as we see this lawn taking back a hold, maybe we'll do the aeration and overseeding now, on the following year.
If we see it doesn't do anything.
Right. So, this one was 2599.93 minus 1350 and minus 108.46, so again, they sound pretty reasonable for a,
How long are these price quotes for?
I have to look at the
Okay,
cover sheet.
the thing is, if these are great prices, we lock it in now, we can encumber the money, otherwise, we can take it out of next year's budget. But
yeah, I think we'll just put it in next year's budget if we deem.
There's no urgency to encumber it, I don't think it's gonna go up that crazy.
Right, and the thing
No, and
is too,
honestly, I'd like to look into a couple different companies.
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
seen True Green in the past and I'm not happy with their service, so I'd like to reach out to a couple different companies.
There's another one Concord has, I think there's another.
Concord Custom Lawn
Concord,
Care, that's who I use.
what is it called?
Concord
Concord
Custom
Custom
Lawn Care.
Okay,
We'd have to make sure to call him this year, cause he fills up fast, he wasn't taking any new customers last year, but
And to make it,
he's does a lot of places in this area in Dunbarton and
okay,
potentially.
I've seen them in my neighborhood.
okay.
Good
Yeah, I think he
reputable
does a
company.
great job, just I know
He, I mean,
Prices are a
he
lot
may be
higher
more
than that.
expensive,
You know,
I think it's-
it's
I think
worthwhile,
you get what you pay for, to be honest with you.
but it's good to get 2 quotes too.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely, well, I reached out to a third person, actually, ASAP was one, and,
Yeah,
And
and
the
they said
third one has-
landscapers don't typically
right, that's what I'm
do it,
finding. Yeah.
make it work.
No, is Lawn Dog still around? Didn't you have Lawn Dog 2
They
years?
got bought out by that.
No, True Green,
I'm surprised J&J, a local company, did it.
they don't have their pesticide, their fertilizer license. There's only that's what the problem is, a lot of landscapers don't have their fertilizer.
I think if we do like, just to get that one other good local guy and,
The Concord, I've seen those
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, absolutely, I
Yeah.
wasn't familiar with them, so, anyone have a phone number?
he'll have it.
They're just in Concord, you
I do.
said?
Yeah. His name is Andy, I believe.
You got on here, D, you got a quote for, I'm not gonna say the number, but you got a quote for the transfer station. That's the old quote you're speaking of here, Lean?
There's 3 there,
2 on the next page, Dave.
there's 3 altogether, I just got one today, and then the other, so they're all paper put together. So there was ASAP, then there was Harrison, and then there was in-house.
And they all looked at the, same scope.
What was the building, why does Sun say building maintenance? And they separate,
Yeah, I wanna see that one, I didn't see
I
that.
don't understand what that is.
Well, that's Jeff doing the work.
Right, but what is,
Using our building maintenance line,
okay,
which we're gonna use for any of them anyway. So because we have 3, it looks like, I'll go through them anyway. Harrison paving committed 45,000, advanced paving was at 61,500, in-house labor through the highway department, Crosby Construction Advanced Paving, estimated at 20,000 plus or minus, worst case scenario 28,000. Building maintenance report attached.
I just
Okay,
provided you what the balance is, so. So obviously Jeff was able to get a better price on the advanced paving because he would do all the work, and that's how he's been able to keep the asphalt prices down for the total expenses, is the hand work gets done in-house, and then he can come in at a lower price for his, paving bill.
Yeah, cause that's sort of a contract, right?
Yep,
The
yep.
price per
Price
ton.
per ton, yeah.
So, did the 25 or 25 to 28? You put 20 to 28, but this covers.
Well, he
each
kinda
of us.
threw some numbers out so that I could get a breakdown
Did
of
that include Jeff and advanced paving?
Yep. Yep.
It did.
and that's where we're at for our budget right now.
Our balance remaining is 88.
Mm-hmm.
I make a recommendation, we use the, in-house highway department, Crosby Construction in combination with advanced paving, with a worst-case scenario of $28,000 as a motion,
Come out of building maintenance,
coming out of building maintenance.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second, we have 3 copies here, and it cuts the bids almost in half.
When will the execution occur?
They said they wanna do it this fall, so it'll be this year's budget.
Okay,
There's one other thing that I'd like to get taken care of this year, so we don't get complaints in the winter. I'd like to, whether it's done in January or February, I'd like to try and get the, use the balance of the money to get the heat and air conditioning squared away for the second floor for that
do
building.
we have any quotes on that yet?
I do have 1 quote, I'm gonna try and get JR to give us another quote, so we'll have 2.
I have no problem to getting this started, but the thing is, in the event he does not, due to weather, let's say, we encumber the dollars for next year.
Sure, yep. So motion's been made and second, all in favor? Aye.
So consensus, if the weather, does not
Yeah,
permit,
we'll
we encumber
encumber
the
it.
money, lean, okay?
Anyway,
Yep, for the heat and AC.
No, for the paving. In the,
we'll do the same thing with the heat and AC.
Oh,
but the
yeah,
thing is, in the event that weather, prevents from paving,
They'll go quite a while though, I think we're gonna make it.
yeah,
I think so too. They said the plants are open till like December, right?
Yeah.
Usually December or 1st or 15th, depending on when the weather is.
Well, that's good, I'm glad we got those all in.
speaking of paving, did we see the new walkway?
I did, it looked great. Save that stuff till the end,
Dave,
on your
got
notice.
a comment from the public.
Yeah, I saw the paving, new paving, looks good. Are you gonna dress the sides with any?
No, we're
Yeah.
gonna leave that.
It's easier to trip on.
Alright, let's
Yeah.
keep on schedule, guys.
Be surprised, I might have to come in town and sue somebody.
Alright, item number E is household hazardous waste days on Saturday, October 19th, this weekend. Bow Public Works from 8:30 to 1 PM. Can you make sure it's posted on our website?
Already is.
Beautiful.
And it's
Yeah.
on- should be on the marquee as
A
well.
bad day,
I know. Alright,
you're not gonna make it.
boat launch at Gorham Pond is now open, see pictures?
Pictures look great, I thought I saw, it's open for business as of Saturday, looks
Yeah.
great.
Looks really good, yeah.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job, I went down and actually checked it out as well. Check the pictures out, Justin.
Am I okay to drive down there? Can I drive down?
You can, yep. Help yourself. Okay. Pictures of the walkway material here. As you guys can see from the pictures, there were some large boulders and grubs underneath
Crap.
the walkways. That's where our lawn grub used to come.
No bones though.
But, you know, taking those bones out hopefully gets the humps out of what was there. It looks like they did a base coat, and I think it's because they had taken them down so deep. They didn't leave a little step for the, they didn't leave a little, step down to put a finish coat on there, but I would imagine it's because if, people come with wheelchairs and whatnot, they want them to get right in the building. So if they do finish coat on those, they'll probably just take it back a little bit, grind it down.
And taper it down.
We have, it's listed here as a resignation from Tammy Bound. But I don't think it's written that way. We got a letter to our fire chief, where one of the volunteer fire people, had worked there for 21 years and decided to step back in their involvement. They did not, resigned, so they stepped back, hoping to come back to a department at a later time. So, I don't know if you guys get a chance to read it. So I wanna make sure we at least have that clear, that
It's not a resignation?
No,
It's
they're just stepping back for now, hoping to come back to it later.
Okay, so we'll be down another volunteer.
Yeah, so I wanna make sure that John understands it that way as well,
Okay,
cause I read that letter when it came through the email to us,
yeah,
and then, I think John took it more as a resignation letter where it says that they would like to come back at some point. So, he may wanna leave them on the,
the roster.
yeah, you know, like we do, we don't take people off the payroll and all that, so you have to redo
Right,
the world, so what, talk with John about that for me?
okay,
Okay, thanks. Okay, we got an email request from the same person asking for the copy of their information in their file as well. Email from, we have an old email from, Patrick Boundwoody.
hey, did you get a chance to talk to him about it? I don't know if there's an action for us.
I don't think
He's
there's any
expecting
action to it, I think he was just, if you read this letter, he said he doesn't expect the board to do anything, he just wanted to let him know how he felt.
Okay.
So that was, in fact, a letter about, you know, not being asked to volunteer on the.
I shared that with John for action if he needed it, and, as far as, I forwarded that to the chief,
Yeah,
so he would have situational awareness, and he can discuss it with his meetings internally.
yeah,
Alright,
so it doesn't look like he's asking for any action from the board, he wanna let us know kinda how he felt.
alright, that was my question to the
Yeah,
board.
I-
Last time something like this came through, it was.
I think he was,
I was surprised that we didn't act on it.
I sensed there was just a little frustration,
Yeah, and that's all, like, they wanted to vent it, looked
Yeah.
like to me, so.
Okay,
but I think that's why, for action, when I saw it, I forwarded it for the fire chief, so situational awareness, so he could address it at his meetings.
Yeah, make them aware of it.
Yeah.
Just so the public knows, we did put out an, application, for the town for a part-time fire chief, working 20 to 25 hours. It looks like something that we're gonna have to do, bring somebody in, from outside, because the people they have within the department there have other commitments, I believe.
and John's retired.
And John is retiring. He has, said that he will stay on until we, find somebody to fill that position.
But we already had one respond, as I understand.
A lot
and,
of experience too.
Yeah, so I think we just have to, see what comes in with through the,
Yeah, John thought he might have several people, go ahead and
Yep.
and respond to that. I'm gonna open it up for public comment one more time.
Have you ever been to the, hazardous waste?
I am not.
It is hell.
It is,
Yeah.
They
You
come
said,
from
you
the
just,
Concord side, not this.
yeah, well, no, I mean, but the traffic is terrible.
Mhm.
You sit in line up the road for a long time, and you said the hours are 8 to 1?
Yeah, that's what was on.
It doesn't give you a lot of time, because by the time you get there, you're like a mile back, waiting to get to drive in, you know? I think that's really
yeah, I
bad.
don't know, I've been to at least 3 of them, and I've waited no more than 8-9 minutes.
Oh, I've been to some, and I've waited, Gail and I've been, we waited a long time.
Okay.
One thing that I did notice when we went to one a couple of years ago is that people coming from the north,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah, from
3A.
3A,
were zipping in. It's like, oh, wait a minute, we're here, we've been waiting
Yeah,
10 or
but-
15 minutes and like,
I've seen the lines both ways, and I've seen
Yeah.
people get frustrated and leave
Yeah.
because it takes
Yeah.
so long. And I talked to Fred about that one day, and he agreed, he said, yeah, it's hell in there sometimes.
You know, they're combining several towns, so it's understandable you're gonna wait in line, I mean.
Yeah, but my point is, the hours aren't long enough.
One thing Woody did say is he's expecting, while we're on that subject, he's expecting it to, the amount we have to pay be more because people are bringing more, cause it's more known about it. He did ask, I think, 6 people that he used last year, And because it's on the same thing, like Leo was saying, same
Right.
thing as other stuff going on in town.
Yep.
The people that normally help, like Fred and whatnot, they're not available.
Right,
Ooh,
So I think Tammy is the only one, his wife, that said yes, she would go and help him.
yeah,
He's only have her and him for our town down there, he only has 2 or 3 different people.
right. Yeah, that's what I had brought that up to Donna a while back when she had this date. I said, it's not a good day, because, I mean, I know it's short, but by the time you get out of there, by the time you get to there, you won't get in. The Goffstown's having their big thing going on in there.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Goffstown's a pumpkin thing.
Yeah,
Like,
right, right. And then the Conservation Commission's having something.
oh, yeah.
You know, so
Stretch thin.
everything's happening. Gail asked if I was gonna attend. I said, I can't attend everything.
You know, the leaf peepers from Massachusetts going on 13,
Oh my
sneaking
God,
by.
yeah, I saw those last weekend. Whew.
Okay, so public comment, Lean? Do you have
I
anything?
just wanted to let the board know I got a call from Aloha Doors, they're in, they'll be installed next Wednesday.
What doors?
The Aloha, the
Oh,
remaining
great.
doors in the fire department.
Justin, anything for the board? Mike?
I just wanna reemphasize that, Lean did kudos to Lean for getting her tax rate set, first one in the state.
Nice. First one, huh? You thought you would be late.
Lean, you should have a board over there with those blue, you know.
Ribbons.
Mike, you're in
Ribbons
charge
that
of
you
getting her a
hang
star this week.
You need a board with ribbons on it.
Okay, congratulations on that, Lean, getting it in. First one to get our bills out, yahoo! Make all the residents upset with us. I only wanna give a couple notices out, one we talked about already, we're doing a, Scipio Page, I've got it scheduled to be there at 9, but I believe that starts at 10 o'clock. Gonna run for about an hour. Kind of a Black Heritage Day in Dunbarton where they're gonna unveil,
Revolutionary War hero.
yeah, but they're gonna unveil a. what do you
Stone,
call it?
right,
A
plaque?
Stone.
Plaque
Yeah.
for Scipio, yeah.
Also, Dunbarton Conservation from 1 to 4 has a, kind of a benefit for the two, the Kerber property right here and the Lane property that they got into 5 Rivers.
Yeah,
They're gonna be doing that Sunday.
Yeah.
From the elementary school, they'll be giving some tours out in the woods on some new trails they provided right from the school. Cause I asked them why they weren't using the 2nd floor of the town hall for it, I thought it would be a nice thing for the conservation group to use, but they're giving tours right out of the school, so it
Yeah.
makes more sense.
yeah, it's a nice day too.
Yeah. So, they're gonna have that there from 1 to 4, and there's a vendor there that's gonna be serving some, pies and whatnot for lunch. So those 2 things are going on this weekend, within the town, as well as that, cleanup day, so
Busy weekend.
busy weekend. And that's all I have, I think, for the board. I will be, following up and getting the last emails for the pricing, so we can lock that in
For
for
the
the
heating,
heating and cooling for that second.
they're gonna be like the split system like we had.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Very efficient and, I think should work well, because they do both things.
And we only need a minute amount of heat up there, you know, we're talking a 10-degree sweep of heat, so.
Were you aware that, Greg's been working on the rails?
No.
He's already plugged up the holes, sanded, and he's applied 1 coat of paint.
Oh, great,
He wants to take that shadow board off first, get rid of the material before he brings this out and starts.
I mean, that is plastic, the girls brought it in here, but
Mm,
they could've left it out, but now it's in its end, so.
Yeah, fine.
He asked for the big wide piece of 1x12 for some other thing, but. That, most of that material is for the freeze board on the bottom that's angled. And, because of the way the water hits the building there, it rots out pretty quickly, right after we had fixed it up, it started rotting again, so. We're gonna put that water table in as PVC this
Yeah,
time.
he said when he gets, about 40 hours of calculated time, he's gonna ask for a draw, and I said, that's fine.
Yeah, we wanted to really get those rails painted because the water would seep into them where the cracks were on the PVC without getting that coating on them. So I'm glad he's hitting it while the weather is still
Yeah.
here.
Agreed.
Okay, good enough. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:25.
I'll second.
And the last thing on the item is 9 AM, you're gonna be able to watch the Patriots this Sunday.